You're watching Sipping Up the Cup on tequilaaficionado.com, part of Tequila Aficionado Media. I'm Alex Perez in Southern California.
I am Mike Morales here in San Antonio, and Alex, this is an evening. This is an historic evening, okay? Because tonight, ladies and gentlemen, you may have heard about this tequila before, and Alex has vintage bottles to prove that it used to exist. But tonight, we're going to try the newest edition of Corrido tequila.
And Mike, I was so excited to get this.
Yeah, well, yeah, because Alex and I here's what we're going to do. We're going to flip things around. First of all, we're going to taste the juice first, and then we'll fill you in on all the background that he and I have shared with this brand. Okay, this is the relaunch of this brand right now. As far as we know, it only comes in the Blanco, but they're working on the rest of it.
Oh.
As you can see, the packaging is still the same really cool logo. It still has the guitar pick on it. The leather cord. All this stuff was cutting edge for its time. So I'm gonna pour this into my Stasel Jarrito for tequila. Oh, I see bubbles, lingering bubbles.
I thought bubbles will turn the bottle upside down.
Yeah.
I'm using my trusty Glencairn.
The Glencairn. And I will. I don't know if you can see that on my screen or Alex's screen. It may look a little pixelated right now, but beautiful legs and tears. It's pristine looking. Y'all can see that right there on the camera.
Yeah.
And for those of you who are listening to us on our podcast,
it's very shiny.
It's very shiny. Yeah.
All right, so it's 40% ABV, 80 proof.
Okay, I'm getting a lot of fresh green agave, not so much baked. I'm getting green. Are you getting the?
I'm getting cooked agave.
Okay.
And pepper, like a black pepper. But you know what? There's grassy notes.
And it's kind of a citrus, like a lime zest, is all what I'm getting as well.
Definitely citrus, yeah. Grapefruit. What a beautiful nose! It's opening up too.
Yeah. The legs and tears are gorgeous, really very pretty. It's a very attractive sheen, and it's not clinging to the glass. It's just sheeting very nicely, very evenly on the glass.
Oh, it is beautiful.
Yeah. Let's dive in, shall we? Let's see what we get.
Some raw agave, probably. That's the green you're smelling.
Oh.
Oh. Wow.
There's a hint of the anise on the entry, but
who's anise?
But the pepper, right in the center of the palate, it kind of gives that pepper explosion.
Mm.
Wow, what a nice finish too, Alex.
And it's medium to long.
Yeah.
Wow, that exploded in my mouth.
Yeah, it did too. It did to me too, because the entry was rather just a little bit sweet, and then the sweetness didn't get a chance to linger as much as the explosion at mid palate.
Wow, getting still pepper. And you're right, anise.
Yeah, but it's just a hint. Oh, wow.
It's not overpowering at all. Get a little bit of green, a little olive.
It's full. It's a bit herbally, but on the retronasal, there's kind of like you said, olive, not briny, but olive.
Wow. They still get the cooked agave. Wow, that's nice.
Yeah, let's get into a little background, okay, of Corrido. For those of you who are tequila collectors and connoisseurs, you may remember Corrido. It was a brand that was brought to our attention by a gentleman, the late Brad Hoover, who had a really interesting concept and really thought out the brand. I mean, he had everything from the label, the logo. It was a poster. Remember the poster, Alex? It was
I love the
vintage
poster. I had that poster. That's what I lost.
Yeah, well, see,
I lost that at a tasting.
the last time we saw Brad Hoover alive was during Spirits of Mexico, where I can't remember if I was not a judge that year. I don't think.
What year was that? That was like 2010.
Yeah, I think it was 2010.
Something like that.
They had a van. They had a VW van. He had converted. They would do these shows with the VW van, and everybody wanted to take pictures in front of the van. And long story short, after traditionally that show would be in San Diego in September around the Mexican Independence weekend. Okay, a week later, in San Francisco or in the Bay Area, Mr. Hoover passed away suddenly, and so did the brand. Unfortunately, when I met him, that was the first time I'd actually met him face to face. Vibrant guy, loved to talk about tequila and had all kinds of ideas. He had the master distiller was there. You remember, Alex? His master distiller was at the show. He had a modernized, not modified version of the aroma kit that is famous by Ana Maria Romana. He had one specifically geared to his brand. And the brand that was one of those brands that was just going to explode on the market and had been, and then just everything went poof, literally poofed from one day to the next.
There was a brand manager too. What was her name? It was a Japanese lady.
Yeah,
she actually put out a book. She actually put out a cocktail book.
Yuri Kato.
There you go.
Yeah, she put out a book on whiskey, and I'm not sure whatever happened to Yuri.
I don't know what happened.
I don't know. The family suffered some great loss. Friends. It was not a good time. It was not a good era for tequila in general as well. But in any case, come like late last year, I think 2019, Brad Hoover's niece, Sarah Foote, whom, unbeknownst to me until I was looking back at some of the old pictures, I had actually met. She was one of the brand ambassadors, one of the gals who poured tequila for Brad. She was helping manage the booth. She took up the mantle, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure the ins and outs of the details, but I know that the brand has been revived. It is now at a new distillery. Alex, first of all, Alex has show the vintage bottles. First of all, if you're
so this is 14.99. So this is the new bottle,
right?
Now look at the label. Okay, so this is the old bottle. I've got the pic somewhere.
Yeah,
the label's changed just a little bit.
Yeah, but it's virtually the same. I mean, it's been organized, I think, and streamlined a little bit.
No, it's a different distillery.
Yeah. What's what is the old distillery numbers? Because as far as we know, off camera, we did a little research. We found out that the Blanco came from one distillery, whereas the extra añejo was being aged at a separate distillery.
Right.
Correct.
Right. So
Okay.
the old Blanco is 1526.
1526. Let me
1526.
check. 1526 right now only has right now as of the current num list where we're at we're actually filming this in the late February. Actually, it's leap day today. um, there's only 5 brands that come out of there right now. It is a very small distillery at you said 1526, correct?
1526.
Okay. Now the old distillery, which one was where the añejo or the extra was
So the
being?
añejo, is also 1526. It's the extra añejo.
The extra was at 1439.
So the extra was at 1439, right? This is the old añejo bottle.
Yeah. Let me see. 1439 has. This is proveedora y procesora de agave Tres Hermanos.
That's right.
And there are some brands here in Texas that actually come out of that distillery, like Bohica and Mar Azul, which we have in our queue to do sipping off the cuffs a little bit later. So there's maybe 13, 15, maybe 20 brands that come out of that distillery. So Mr. Hoover was really sourcing these distilleries really sharply. He wasn't going for the big maquiladoras. He was Alex. He was a real driving force. You remember he was really a powerful personality. The guy was way over 6 feet, rail thin at the time that we saw him. Spoke a mile a minute on his brand. He had so much passion.
The guy was excited. The guy was on fire, and his brand would have really get off.
It was right there at the apex. It was ready. It was gonna catch air, and sadly he had passed away. So it was nice to see Sarah Foote, who has picked up the mantle. She has gotten possession of the brand. I'm not sure. I'm sure she has investors that are helping her out as well, because things have changed from 2010 to now. It isn't, back then Brad could do a lot with on a shoestring budget, but at this point, the whole atmosphere has changed. The whole playing field, the whole landscape is different.
It's gotten more difficult.
Yeah. And we're hoping that something, this was going to be a vintage legacy brand. It really was. It was headed that direction, and there were so many other plans that Mr. Hoover had in mind that have never played out. But it's really cool to see the second coming of this brand. Alex, first of all, Brand of Promise nominee, I think,
definitely hands down
in the packaging category, but I think the spirit of Brad Hoover is being kept alive in the juice. I really believe
the juice. And you know what? The Blanco is remarkable. I love it. It's a really good sipping tequila. It's flavorful. It's elegant. It's very good. I'm really happy it's back.
Yeah,
I really am.
Me too. It is. It's obviously not the same juice. There are only a few of those bottles left over. I think there's one restaurant in Scottsdale that has whatever vintage lots are left, other than what collectors have. But
I think Old Town has them for like a couple $100 a bottle or something.
Oh, really? Yeah, and you know what? Those vintage bottles are probably worth that much.
Yeah.
What I remember about it is I had the Blanco. Here's the funny part. That year, I had the Blanco in Las Vegas, because the Las Vegas show would kind of run in the same weekend as as the San Diego
Oh, the
Spirits
bar
of
show?
Mexico. Yeah, yeah. And then no, not the nightclub and bar. No, an actual Mexican Independence Day.
I remember.
That would have mariachi. It would have mariachi festival at the same
Oh,
time.
mariachi,
Anyway,
yeah.
a lot of us would fly into San Diego. We'd drive to Las Vegas, watch that tequila show, and then drive back to San Diego for the weekend show in San Diego. So we did that, and I'd actually had the Blanco only in Las Vegas, and the same crew would do the same thing, right? They would drive to San Diego, and then I had a little taste of the extra añejo, which was superb. It was like butter. You know what I mean? And at the time I wasn't a big extra añejo guy. The extra añejo, that category had just started.
It just started. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was kind of historic for Alex and myself at the time when we did that show, and then to come full circle and taste it and coming back. I think
Congrats.
the spirit of Brad Hoover and his ideals and what he had planned for the brand still exists. Okay, I just from the superficial digging that Alex and I did. Brand of Promise nominee, first of all, in the Blanco category.
Yeah.
We don't know if there are other expressions yet.
In the hamper,
But in the hamper or in the queue,
so.
They're in the pipeline. I hope so. I would love to see how this iteration of the brand ages, how it progresses as it ages. So kudos to Sarah and whoever else is involved. God bless Brad Hoover for what a brainchild that guy had.
Let us know. Let us know if you have Corrido, or if you have found a secret stash somewhere. Actually, if you find a secret stash somewhere, call me, direct message me. Go get it. Don't put it on there.
Oh man, people who are not sure of the extra añejo category, when they had Corrido extra añejo, they knew for sure that that's what they wanted.
Oh yeah.
It convinced people like automatically. I think they were on the verge of really pushing that luxury extra añejo category that is now driving the market. 10 years later,
they knew what they were doing. They were visionaries.
Yeah, they were. They were visionaries. So congratulations to Corrido and Sarah Foote and everybody else involved. That's our take on Tequila Corrido. You have been watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media on all of our channels. Please subscribe if you're watching us on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell so that way every time we upload a video, you will get notified. If you're listening to us on Spotify or anywhere else where you download your...
You sound good.
Those dulcet tones that you hear, those are Alex's vintage. Those are vintage audios that are playing right now. So anyway, please, and by the way, that gentleman there is
Alex Perez, and this gentleman here is...
I'm Mike Morales in San Antonio. And again, Alex, take us home, will you?
Yeah, thanks for watching Sipping Off the Cuff on TequilaAficionado.com, part of Tequila Aficionado Media. Thanks for watching, and as always, sip wisely.